Welcome to Are You Okay? Episode 6.
I've been wanting to do that for a long
I
time.
know, we're finally drinking out of wine glasses. That's super fun. Tell them about it. Oh,
Sour. This is called Be Well. I thought it was just fitting, you know. I was going to get this fake wine that Phil got me over the weekend that I actually really liked a lot better than this. I forget what it's called. We'll have to do that sometime. But then I was in the aisle and I saw that there was a fake wine called Be Well, and I thought, how perfect for the podcast.
yeah.
It's pretty good. I added cherry juice the other night because cherry juice kind of has a little bit of a grit to it that makes it a little more winey. But because this wine is already a little sour, sorry, the ice cube's stressing you out.
Tiny bit.
I can tell you look like this.
Well, it's just going to be how it is.
Anyway, yeah, it's a little sour. So if you add the cherry juice, it's just like too tart. But this with a little cigarette, you feel almost back to your old self.
Yeah. Fantastic. No, it's really good. I don't like wine. This does not taste like wine to me.
Really?
This tastes like a watered down cranberry juice, which I love. I'm a huge fan of diluting juice.
You are.
Like a sour orange juice, just water and orange juice.
Ugh.
A sour cranberry juice. So this is right up my alley, but it doesn't taste like wine.
Did you try the cherry juice in the fridge?
No.
You should try it. Oh, well, actually, I think it's gone. But
Cherry juice.
it's so sour and gritty, and it's really good. So if you have like a sweeter fake wine or real wine, well, it's irrelevant if you have a real wine, because the whole point of the cherry juice is because it just makes it feel more like wine.
Interesting.
Yeah,
That's
but-
interesting. You know your like alcohol food chemistry. It's like kind of a lot. Kind of like too much.
Well, anyway, we got to do what we got to do. I would give this a 6.
Okay. Okay. I would give it
Okay.
I mean, it just doesn't taste like wine.
You can give it a low number. These people are not going to ever know we exist anyway.
I love it.
Oh,
It just doesn't taste like wine.
well, which is why you like it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, here
I'd
you
give it
go.
a 7.
Dang,
What'd you
Claire.
say?
Shoddy. 6.
Very good. Very refreshing, and obviously adding the ice is so ratchet, but it's how our mom drank wine growing up. Oh, I just called mom ratchet.
It is a little ratchet if you're a snob, but I think lukewarm drinks are more ratchet.
True. True. Okay, well, guys, I'm Claire, your host. This is my sister Bridget. We didn't introduce ourselves. We're happy to be here. It is 10 o'clock at night. We showered. We did makeup. We put on real outfits. This is more effort than we put into our real jobs.
It's true.
I've been working the front desk this week because the front desk kid is on vacation. And so my boss, he comes in like later. So I've been there for a few hours when he finally shows up. And I was just sitting there when he walked in at the front desk. And he's like, "How's it going?" And I was like, "It's okay." And he's like, "What's up?" And I was like, "Honestly, nothing. Like, nobody's called. Nobody's come to the front desk. Like, I haven't seen anybody all day." And he's like, "Have your eyes been open?"
Oh my gosh.
And he's like, "You look pretty tired." And I was like, "Excuse me?"
It's so rude.
And then I was like, "No, I am tired, but my eyes have been open, I promise." Anyway, I thought that was funny and rude, but no, whatever. It just is what it is.
Well, we have big news. Our family has big news. Our brother Zach, older brother Zach, we'll have him on sometime to talk finances. It's probably an episode I'll skip, but just kidding.
You know you need to be at that
I
episode.
know, but but he and his fiancee Sophie, who we love, just had their first baby, which is so exciting. They got home
Yay.
tonight. Just unbelievable. Crazy.
I know.
Zach as a dad is just wild.
Yeah, the oldest sibling is now a father. Really crazy.
It's
Really,
amazing.
it doesn't feel real, but now all of a sudden that there's a baby, I can't picture them without a child. It's like so weird how instantly life seems so perfect,
Yes.
but so different than before.
Yep.
It's crazy. And like they have 2 dogs and 2 cats, and like that's always how it's always been. And like, no. And now there's a baby.
Right.
Like that's crazy.
And they waited on the gender. So they didn't know until they gave birth that it was going to be a girl. And now it's just like, it makes so much sense that it's a girl. Like a boy doesn't really make sense for them. But I mean,
Yeah.
maybe someday. I don't know. It's just crazy.
No, but it all makes sense, even though 24 hours ago or whatnot, we had no idea who this was.
I
And
think we did 24 hours
was it?
ago.
Life is a fucking blur. Okay, 48 hours ago, we didn't know. How long has this baby been? I'm so embarrassed.
It's okay.
What is today? Congratulations to them, and we're so excited. And
I have a little story about this. So she was born yesterday afternoon. I'm not entirely sure what time. I think around 4, but I don't really know for sure. Anyway, irrelevant. Claire and I have been watching their dogs, and we just go over, we tag team going over, feeding them, letting them out. And last night I was over there. I went at like 12:30 because you really don't want to leave them too long, and we don't spend the night there. So I wanted to give Claire as much time on the flip side this morning. Anyway, I'm there. I'm in the living room, and it's just been too quiet. They've been outside a long time, and I look in the backyard, which is pretty long, and I can't see them anywhere. And I run out there, and I'm yelling, and nothing. So then I come back inside. I run to the front, nothing. Come back. One of their dogs is at the back door. I let him in. I checked the yard again just to make sure I didn't miss their girl dog, Nuka. Sure enough, I did not miss her. She was out. The gate was open. And so poor Zachary, the same day that his baby was born at 2 a.m, is driving the neighborhoods. I'm running him. I have not run that fast or long in years. I'm not even kidding you. And I was like wheezing.
Yeah, because I was worried about you. And so I was tracking your location active, like live, tracking your location on my phone live. And your little ping was just like dancing through the streets.
I went through yards. It was wild. And I definitely got lost. And poor Phil, he's on the phone trying to direct me because that neighborhood is a maze.
Yes.
And the updates with the dog's collar, dog tag, air tag, which like shows you where the dog is, were very slow. So by the time I would get to wherever Nuka had been last,
She had moved on.
Long gone. Anyway, Zach sent a text, got her, and I literally just fell into the road and was sobbing my head off. Like, this could have been really, really bad.
Well, they do live in a lot of neighborhoods, but they aren't close to like a pretty main
Yeah.
road, and you never know. And
Claire, your dog needs medication.
she needs a lot of things. Come on, come sit with
She
me.
needs a dad.
Good luck with that. Oh, man. Come here, Usa baby.
I wanted to say something before we start because this week has just been wild. And I'm not going to go into a lot of the details, but there's just been a lot of stuff going on in my personal life. And we've gotten a lot of comments and texts about the podcast or just kind of about life and healing and people saying they can relate or offering encouragement. And I just cannot tell you how much it means. And it's not just like, oh, this is good, we're on to something, let's keep doing the podcast, which is very encouraging. But just like day-to-day life, like there are days where you wonder. I mean, I have pretty severe depression. There are more days than not where you just wonder, like, what am I doing here? Like, you know, and it's hard. And when you have people just kind of speaking truth into your life, either about you or about their journey or about God, whatever it might be, it's just so encouraging. And it made me think about just keeping up with each other. And I'm not a good long distance friend. Like, I do not think I'm good at keeping in touch with people from afar. But even if it's just, you know, if someone comes to mind, even someone from the past, and it's not going to cause you or them harm, just shooting them a text and offering encouragement, because life is so hard and this is not our home. But this week was beyond touched by how much that encouragement meant and how much I realized we probably could be helping each other. You know, if we just checked in here and there or sent a text, word of encouragement. So just wanted to encourage everybody to try to do that because, yeah, it's just gone a long, long way this week when shit's been hitting the fan. So thank you to everyone who's reached out. And even the comments, like people we don't know, it's just like awesome to hear that, you know, this is resonating with people.
Yeah. We've just gotten plenty of positive feedback, and it really does encourage us to keep filming episodes and encourages us in our daily life. So we're grateful. We've gotten some weird comments too. I didn't know how to delete them off of YouTube.
Did you tell the boys about that one?
No.
You should tell our brothers.
Okay.
I just think, I mean, it's so wildly inappropriate, but it's kind of funny.
It was so funny. It was terribly inappropriate, but it was so funny. Anyway, I don't know how to delete comments on YouTube, so those ones are wild.
If you're curious, you can
I
find
think
it.
you probably can find it. But anyway, that one made me laugh. But I mean, the majority of what we've heard has just been really, you know, we're really grateful for it. It's been super encouraging. So we appreciate that. I wanted to touch back on the dogs getting out last night. Today, they have a cat, and no one knows. They're going to find out if they watch this. But this cat is kind of like a dog. It's really kind of this like wildly energetic,
Very friendly.
has like a very smart, has a personality. I love this cat. His name is Gilly, and he wanted to go outside, and he's scratching at the glass door, like on his back legs, like paws going. every time I went over the last few days, he wanted to go outside.
Yeah.
And so today I was like, okay, you can go outside, but I'm going to watch you.
Good luck, Claire. He leaves the yard. That's why I never let him out.
Why do they let him out at all?
Because he does come back. But I just feel like we leave too much
Oh.
to keep tabs on whether he'll come back. So I have so much anxiety about letting him out. So I never do.
Okay, I knew they let him out. So I was like, okay, you can go out. I didn't know he could leave the
Yeah.
yard. So I was like, you can go out, Gilly, but I'm going to watch you. So the dogs are out and I'm following this dog around. I mean, this cat around. I'm following this cat around like, okay, yeah, like just keeping an eye on him. I'm thinking he's going to like climb over the fence or like jump on something. No, there's a gap in the fence. He just slithers his way through. I absolutely panicked. I said, shit, Gully.
Not again.
Gully. His name is Gilly.
Close.
I'm fucking drunk on this wine. I'm like, Gilly,
I
no.
wish.
I'm in the backyard. I run through the house, lock the dogs out back, run through the house, jump over the baby gate, run outside, and he's just like sitting in the yard. Thank goodness. And he's like, meow. And I'm like, fuck you.
Not today.
And I scooped him up and ran inside. I didn't know he could do that. I was like,
No, I think he explores for a couple hours and then comes back.
really
Yeah.
brave of them.
They are brave.
He's a cutie. Anyway, all pets at this point. Pets and depression, but
At least we're consistent.
oh my goodness. So, what was our goal today? You wanted to touch on nostalgia.
Sure. And I think also kind of related to last episode because,
Yeah.
we were talking a lot about those relationships that you realize you have to walk away from and whatever, reevaluate your life and really in finding yourself and facing your demons, which I will say something because of the week I've had. If you don't actively work to face your shit and work through your shit, it doesn't like automatically happen. I think so many people think like I'm going to be different from my parents, and that's really nice and fine, but you actually can't do that unless you're getting well and you're facing your shit and you're owning it. And it takes so much humility and accountability that I think most people are sorely lacking in. And so they're repeating cycles of harm, whether it's with their friendships or their children or their marriages or whatever it is. And it's just like, it's devastating. And anyway, it was a kind of follow-up thought from last episode because it's not just like, oh, you want to be on the same rung of the ladder and be friends. It's like, no, you can cause real harm if you don't take responsibility for your life
Yeah.
and your growth and your healing.
Yeah. No, and I was thinking, ironically, in the car today, I was driving home and I was thinking about how you actually have to choose if you want to get well or not. Like, that's a choice.
Every single day.
Every single day, it has to be a choice. And it's very rare to find people who they might know they're fucked up in some way, but it's rare to find somebody who's trying to get well. And it is a daily effort. And the harm might not be your responsibility, but the effort to recover is completely on you
Yes.
with the support of your family and friends
Yes.
and good people. But it's just like, and I compare I know I compare emotional injuries to physical injuries all the time, but it is the best way to look at things side by side. If you physically get hurt, say you tear your ACL, it may not be your fault that you tear your
I think
ACL.
it was my fault that you tore your ACL.
I do think Bridget is the reason I tore my ACL, but because she was being a jerk on the soccer field. But no, I don't actually. I had a bad hamstring and a bad calf, wicked tight. We had no trainer at the school. No one was taking care of my physical health. Not really their fault, but definitely not mine, right? And I tore my ACL. Severe, serious injury. Someone else's kind of responsibility to maybe take better care of me as an athlete, but my complete and utter responsibility to get well.
Right.
And so that was a incredibly intentional effort for 2 years.
Right.
The surgery, the rehab. The rehab went on for months and months and months. There was some re-injury and I had to go back to rehab. I had a couple of different physical therapists. Like the energy that went in that machine that they attached my leg to for 3 weeks straight and cranked it so I could bend back to normal. Like that was fully and completely my responsibility. Now I had people taking care of me, friends, family, doctors, a team.
Right. We need help. We can't
need
do it
help.
alone.
But I was really fully responsible. Some people actually choose not to take care of or get surgery for ACL tears because it's gruesome, it's difficult, it's insanely challenging, and you can survive with a torn ACL.
Right.
Emotional injuries are the same way.
Yeah.
You can survive with emotional injuries. Something's missing.
Right.
You're not the same.
Right.
I'm stronger now than I've ever been. Well, okay, I had an incredible run back in 2019 where I was like the strongest I've ever been. But I think I'm stronger physically than before the injury
Totally.
because of the rehab and all the effort that went into strengthening my
Right.
knee. And that was a choice. And I know somebody, he's not really a friend, but I just like know him. He's tore his ACL. No shame, but he has chosen not to get it repaired. And he has to like still wear a brace to certain things, and he still
Yeah.
can't do certain movements. And you can survive with a torn ACL for the rest of your life if you want. You can survive with these emotional injuries and psychological injuries for the rest of your life if you want. But if you want to get well, you have to put in the work. And I just don't think most people are, and that's okay. It's
I don't think it
okay.
is okay. That's my point from this past week that's gone down. You're actually continuing cycles of harm. And it's not just like, oh, you're not living up to your full potential and you're not climbing the ladder. Like, I think there's a lot of emphasis on like becoming the best version of yourself. And it seems kind of self-centered. We are communal beings. We have friends and family members and spouses and children. And if we aren't getting well, we are continuing the harm because there's no benign human experience. Like you're not just like floating. You're either adding good and having ownership of your life, taking responsibility, surrendering that which you can't control, but doing the very best you can, or you're just continuing the bullshit that you were raised with, which understandable, yes. Acceptable, I would say absolutely not. And that's that. Yeah,
I like
guess.
that. Like acceptable? No. Understandable? Yes. And that's how I feel about a lot of people. It's like, well, I'm not actually sympathetic towards a lot of people. Some people, it's definitely an FU moment. But when you do dig deep with everybody in this world, it's like everyone's harmed, everyone's effed up, everyone has a torn ACL, everyone's messed up in some capacity, everyone's injured. Oh, hold on. What do you need, honey?
Intermission for Usa's emotional illnesses.
Well, I think in a general sense, it's sort of like, hey, get your shit together when I think about people. But when I like break it down and I think about it in a deeper level, I do understand that like everybody is messed up in some way. Everyone's injured in
Yes.
some way. But I also, even just from knowing what it's like to go through ACL reconstructive surgery, if I compare that to the emotional damage of life, it's like it's still your responsibility. And so it's like I don't feel too bad for people who aren't getting their shit together. And if it affects me in a negative way, it's like you need to move out of my life until or unless you can prove that you've like healed and gotten stronger and
Or at least give a damn about it. Like I don't think any of us are ever going to make it. I mean, I'm on step 1 of the steps still, and it's been over 2 years of sobriety. Like I am not pretending to be in a position of like thriving at all. We're not pretending to be perfect. This is not about like, look what we've done, everyone. We're going to show you the way. Like we've joked this is an unwellness podcast because like life is brutal and this is a lifelong journey. It's been painstakingly slow in so many ways. I think so many, 2 steps forward, 3 steps back moments, at least in my experience. And we talked about this last week and we don't have to overdo it this week, but if you're willing to at least have some level of accountability, it can go yards and bounds. And think about that with relationships. Like you don't always know what you've done. You don't always remember harm caused, but if you can like have the humility to be like, or even just the love, it doesn't even have to be humility, to have the love of another person to be like, if I did that, I am so sorry. Like people don't understand how far that would go. And I've thought that a lot with Dad. Like I don't think he really could grasp fully the harm he caused. But I've always thought, like, even if he got on the phone and said, I know I must have messed up. My 3 daughters don't talk to me. I'm so sorry. Like, I don't know if we should unpack it or if we can. I don't know if I could even fully understand it. But, like, I'm never. And it's like, what do you expect? Like, at some point, people are going to be like, okay, not wanted here, not valued, like, sayonara. And
yeah.
you have to do that or you're mentally unwell if you're
Yeah.
going to stick it out in situations where people aren't even sort of asserting your value.
Yeah. I do. I think a true apology can heal so many
Yes.
things so quickly. Even if you can't ever really make up for the harm you did, like a true apology is the first bandage
Yes.
on the wound. And I think people get so caught up in defending and protecting themselves, which we talked about last week, is sometimes people's instinctive reaction to things.
When I think it's more common in people who haven't gotten well. If you're still in survival mode, which is basically,
Yes.
and in the big book they talk about character defaults are instincts gone awry. So like they're these things that for survival you had to do for a while, and then you continue doing them because you're still in this state of survival, you think. And so you're causing harm because you're grasping at all these things you think you need because at one point you did.
Yeah.
So that's another reason why getting well is so important. You are going to be in survival mode. Your triggers are going to set you off if you aren't learning to cope better. And so, yeah, your first instinct when someone says, hey, that really sucked, that really hurt, you did something, it is going to be just self-defense and denial and delusion and all whatever keeps you comfortable in your bubble. And yeah, you're going to lose people because they're going to be like, all right, this is not a mutual friend. Imagine a marriage like that. It would last 12 seconds if either or both parties could not take any responsibility. Or a friendship, anything. It's just like completely dysfunctional.
Yeah.
Even a boss, like if a boss and an employee have that kind of dynamic, it would be a very temporary employment.
Yeah. No, there's someone who was in my life for a little while and recently things kind of fell apart. And I was thinking today, I was just like, you would still be, and they really wanted me back in their life and I wanted them back in mine, but I couldn't just accept what was happening. Anyway, I was thinking today on
Well, there was no real accountability at all, I don't think.
No,
on
no,
this person's part.
no,
Yeah.
but that's what I was thinking in the car. They came back to me and they were like, well, I miss you and you meant the world to me.
Of course they do.
Right. But they were saying all these nice things, but they were lacking like that accountability and that apology. And I was in the car today going, you missed me. You miss me. You love me. Apparently you cared about me. You really enjoyed our time together and you say I deserve the world. And like, you're saying all these really sweet things. I would still be in your life. We would still be talking. We would still be friends. We'd still have a relationship right now if you had taken responsibility for your behavior and your actions. That's
Right.
all. And that would have been 6 weeks ago now.
Right.
We'd have 6 more weeks of friendship and
Right.
relationship under our belt.
Right.
And so this whole like I miss you and like I love you and I care about you and I want you back. It's like
Talk is cheap.
that
man.
was I would have been back in 10 minutes if there had been responsibility taken and accountability and like a real genuine apology. So it's like crazy to me too that these people fly around really flustered by our decision to like walk away or move on or take space. And then they really miss us and they're like kind of all over the place about it. And it's like, whoa, this was all one little conversation that could have, same with dad. Like dad dug himself into a massive hole, but one genuine phone call or conversation with dad with some responsibility, even if he's completely lost, I'd be at breakfast with him the next day.
I know.
It's so to me, or he would have had these 7 years I haven't been in his life.
Right.
He'd have 7 more years with me. That's almost a decade of my life,
Yeah.
or in a decade of his, where I haven't seen him or talked to him or hung out with him. So it's really the apology part, the accountability part, the honesty part, the vulnerability part that is essential to relationships. It's life-giving. It's also what murders a lot of relationships. And I think we talked about apologies last episode being a really deep thing because there's a 3-step piece to it and it really does take, effort. But it's also the simplest, most beautiful way
To begin again.
Yeah.
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 And in a world full of mistakes, the apology is essential to the survivability of relationship.
And to true reconciliation.
Yeah.
Because so reconciliation, the root of that is cilia is eyelashes, con is with, and then re is again. So reconcilia is like you are returning to being eye to eye with someone, and which is awesome. It's so beautiful. It's so true and real, and it is impossible. And you can look this up anywhere. Any psychology, theology will tell you like it is impossible to truly reconcile with someone if both parties aren't willing to face the other and like confront whatever it is that needs to be faced. You can forgive someone, but if the other party is not willing to take responsibility or at least like face reality, then reconciliation is impossible because you can't return to that place of like true, genuine connection if there's like this huge elephant in the room, which sucks. It's like a huge bummer. I do want to say too, because I think it's sometimes daunting to like know where to begin. I think a lot of people know that they're maybe not well deep down unless they're in complete denial. I think a lot of people know that they're not happy. For me, at least, I don't know if this is proven across the board, but you have to at least begin by saying what needs to go. Like, where am I like very sick? What are my crutches? And I will say, and I think our audience goes beyond just Catholic people, but I know a lot of our friends from school probably watch this. There is so much more alcohol abuse and struggle with addiction, I think porn, in Catholic circles, but I'm going to focus on alcohol in particular for a moment because I think it's celebrated. It's like this socially acceptable, like, oh, it's the feast of St. Patrick's Day. Let's all get shit faced. And it's like, guys, that's kind of sick. Like, and I did it. I'm not, it's ill. Like,
I know. I shouldn't be laughing.
well,
It's true. It's true. Catholics will take any opportunity to be
and it's
like,
like, oh, we're Catholic, we're Irish. Like, let's get belligerently drunk and do really devastating things over and over and over again. And then people end up with problems drinking because they realize, like, oh, this makes me, feel a lot better than I usually feel. And so I want to put that out there because I think just culturally, as a Catholic movement, certainly our school, there is way, way, way more misuse of this gift God has given us. And a lot of people, myself included, have used or are using it as a crutch. And it's devastating. So, yeah, in beginning the process of getting well, at least starting with, like, what am I falling onto that is making life worse?
yeah,
Without even facing the stuff from my past or the things that I need to look into.
yeah, yeah. No, I think that's a huge part of getting well is first the getting rid of things. It's not because you can go work out as much as you want. You can start, eating well, and that's fine. You should start those small steps, but sometimes it's not the addition of things, it is the subtraction of harmful things. And it's so uncomfortable coping without those crutches. It's insane. I was realizing there's people who are like adrenaline junkers,
Junker.
junkers.
Adrenaline junkers.
Oh, good Lord. Adrenaline junkies. And I thought that meant you wanted to like jump out of an airplane all the time. And like we're kind of adrenaline junkies, right? When it comes to life. But then someone was breaking it down and into like smaller, more day to day. And it's people who like have to shove their schedule with things and like always have to be doing something and they can't really sit in silence. And
Crime TV.
that's me. That's us. Yeah. And so like I do really well when it's like, and I do this and then I go here and then I do that. And then I have this little side hustle and I have this second job and I booked this and I have that. And I'm going to edit these videos for 5 hours. And it's like, go, 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 go. If I'm not busy enough with that, I'm going to be scrolling through Instagram because something else needs to be distracting me. Something else needs to be entertaining me. And that's adrenaline too. And it's like that energy of like next thing, next thing, next thing. It's probably very Kris Jenner of us. It's just sort of like, is there something else to do? Is there something else to pursue? And it's a coping mechanism. I hate silence. I hate, especially when I'm not doing well. I hate alone time. I like when I'm mentally not doing well. I hate certain sort of like breaks in this like go go go. Let's just not think. Let's not process. And when I'm doing well, silence and solitude is actually fine. So it's interesting that like when I'm trying to cope, I like need the next thing. Road trips. I've moved so many times in the last 10 years because it's like, what's next? Who's next? Where's next? What job? And I love starting new because it's like nerve wracking. It's fucked up, but it's like, that's how I cope. And I've coped with relationships too. I've coped with certain styles of like people and I like get kind of high off of them. And it's like, whoa, I want so badly to go back to those drugs. And it's like, you have to face the fucking music, which is silence, ironically.
Yeah, a lot of solitude, not isolation, because I think I can tend toward that, where you just like shut down and dissociate and remove people. That's not necessarily healthy. Well, it's funny you say that because I was thinking about crime shows because we like them a lot. And we tried to watch them less during Lent. And I realized, obviously I already have kind of paranoia issues. I mean, I'm always preparing for the next active shooter or whatever. And part of getting well, and this is why you really shouldn't try to do it alone because it's just already daunting enough, is that like your body is actually kind of in a state. And you don't even know. Like they've done studies on what trauma does to your brain. So like when I'm like criticizing people for not getting well, it's because we do have an aspect of free will and responsibility, but I do not want to diminish at all the weight of this stuff and some of it being like kind of out of our control, at least at first. Like psychologically, there's so much that happens in your brain with trauma. Our nervous systems are probably shot. One of the reasons people tend to like crime TV is because they had a lot of adrenaline and cortisol shooting through their bodies as children. So they kind of like seek that hit. So yeah, I think some of it is realizing like, okay, This wasn't my fault. I didn't, mean to be 3 years old having cortisol running through my body. But would it help me to stop watching crime TV? Probably. Yes. And like that's another, it doesn't have to be the big, huge ones like drugs and alcohol and porn and sex. Like sometimes it's
Yeah.
food or whatever. And again, there's so many resources and I cannot hit on it enough. There's an AA for almost every form of addiction. And it's maybe not as widespread. There's help out there, and if people want more input on that, I'm happy to answer questions about it. But really just that we have a responsibility. Obviously, like we said last week, the things that you've experienced, so much of life is trauma. It doesn't have to be an abusive parent. Like just life, this is not our home. There's so much about this fallen world that's very heavy and messed up and difficult to navigate, but there's freedom in taking responsibility and certainly fulfillment in healthy whole relationships if you can take responsibility, and you don't have to do it alone, and you shouldn't. And so just know that there is help out there. You wanted to talk about Taylor Swift?
Well,
Boo,
I had to bring Taylor Swift back up because we did an episode where we talk about Taylor Swift. It's literally like the title of the video and the podcast. And I was like very like chill that whole time and was like, be careful, like don't talk too much shit, whatever, politically correct. And then one night I just started watching her Eras tour on like Amazon Prime or whatever, just to see what the hype was about.
I hear screeching. I'm downstairs and I hear screech music. And I'm like, what the hell is Claire doing? And then I realized it's Taylor Swift. And I was like, she is not listening to Taylor Swift right now in my fucking house.
It was worse than that. I was watching her whole entire tour.
She is the whitest dancer I've ever seen.
It was horrible. I have to just say, I was way too nice on that episode we talked about her.
I love that you need this disclaimer.
I have to tell everybody,
Yeah.
I was horrified by
bad.
what I saw.
It's bad.
It was the cringiest shit. I only got through like 25 minutes of it. Cringiest shit ever. Cringy. The way she dances. The facial.
It was like our flash mob in high school.
It was worse than our flash mob in high school. It was the faces she makes. If this girl was not a billionaire pop star, she'd be the most annoying human being in school, at work. The way I couldn't.
This is why I have theories about people selling their souls, because it's like, I'm sorry, Jay-Z, you look like a toe that went through the disposal. You're not that good a rapper. We know that you worship Satan. Like, come on.
You cheated on your scary ass, also scary
She
ass.
can sing, though. Beyonce
She
can
sing. She
But
is
I
gifted.
think she's not half as pretty as half the world makes her out to be.
Well, no, I watched Taylor Swift and I was just like, how, what, where, when, and why did this ever become such a big thing? And her fan base is obsessed with her, and she doesn't even seem genuine. She was like, the way she was looking at the camera, she was doing all these weird things. Go watch it, guys. You'll see exactly what I'm saying. I was horrified.
Don't watch it.
Anyway, yeah, that happened.
Spare your roommates.
But then I was thinking about jojo siwa. And I'm only talking about this stuff because it's pop culture and I love a little bit of tea.
Well, and because it's unbelievable how cringy what's in is.
Well,
This girl's on E! News in like I don't even know, like demonic leotard with her little, and I'm like, what is going on?
I just also think artistically, I've said this before, I used to talk to my boss about this all the time when I worked at the video production studio. I think that beauty and creativity is objective. And I think a lot of people would disagree with me because I think people think that beauty and creativity is subjective to the eye of the beholder, which is true in a lot of ways. But I think if you're ordered, you're actually going to see ordered things as beautiful.
100.
So if you're disordered, you're going to have a more like subjective, open-ended definition of creativity and beauty.
Which is why modern art is
disgusting.
horrible.
Yeah. And so I was looking at JoJo and she's trying so hard to like break away from this kind of like poppy
unicorn
unicorn
unicorn rainbow bows, like
right, happiness,
holy shit,
child
Barbie
star
threw up on you,
right? So she's like, sometimes I think she just goes to the other direction, but she came up with this song. It's like, if karma's a bitch, I don't know, I don't even know the lyrics. It's gone so viral, I've seen it and it's stuck in my head, so God bless, well done. But anyway, I just was witnessing that creativity and that sort of definition of art and this poor person who just looks so lost. I'm like, JoJo, you're so cool, actually. You're like, and you're actually like, you're pretty. And like, she did the show, like the Special Forces show, where she was like stripped down to nothing and spent a week in the wilderness. And I was like, whoa, this is a cool, calm, collected, kind of badass JoJo. I totally expected her to go back to real life after that show and like have a sense of
Chill
like
out.
chill out and like a sense of like kind of grounding herself in reality and like maybe her style would change. Nope. Boom, right back up to like 110 of absolute insanity. And I was just like, oh, babe, you could have just like,
Some of these people that came into it young, it's like you almost can't blame them. Their whole lives have just been this fake,
yeah.
superficial, make it to the top.
Yeah. Anyway, poor JoJo. Sorry, love. I was just like, what is happening with society?
No, we need to start calling these people out.
Yeah. It was a bummer. I just think she's better than that. I think a lot of people are better than what they are and who they are and what they represent. I just do. You're better than that. Dig deep. Fucking find some grit. Rub some dirt on it and stop being such a shit show.
Found some grit.
Okay.
I like that.
Find some grit, baby.
Speaking of grit, Songbook Cinema.
Yeah, tell me. You had a song.
I don't know how this
is
happened.
different.
This is the closest I've ever felt to John. Our brother Johnny, I think he's like everyone's favorite low key, but he's just like plays hard to get.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, he's like really big into metal bands, which I never in a million years thought I would touch. I don't know how it started. I need to go back and read the texts, but somehow he started sending me songs.
Yeah.
And then I would listen to them and be like, yay or nay. Surprisingly, like at least 80% of them, I'm like, I can fuck with this.
Really?
This more heavy stuff, honestly.
Really?
The heavier stuff. Yes. The like kind of boy band like stuff, yuck, no. But the stuff that's like kind of tribal, like worry. I told him not to send me anything demonic. He said most of it's not. But so anyway, my song of the week is Last Time by Secrets. It's very fitting for this week because, you know, just given some of what's gone on. But it's the beginning is kind of the boy bandy, like, ugh, I don't like it. And then it ends up kind of like yelly and tribal. And I don't know. When I find my headphones, which I don't know where I put them, it's going to be what I listen to at the gym because he sent me like probably 30 songs at this point.
Wow.
And yeah. So thank you, Johnny. Shout out.
I am very surprised by that. I mean, you got a little rocker in you, you know.
And some anger.
Honestly, that's sick.
Thank you.
That's cool. I want to listen to it because I'm curious. He used to send me those all the time, and I'd be like, God bless, don't send me any. Yeah, don't send me anymore. And then he'd send them on Apple Music.
He does. I have to type it all in.
Yeah, but it would play on my Apple Music, which is not the one I usually use.
I
But
don't have Apple
my
Music.
truck would instantly play those songs because it's like I don't know why, but my truck, if it was an Apple song, my truck would instantly play it, and so I'd be on my way to like on my way to work, and I'd turn the truck on, and instantly at like max volume, whatever screamo shit he had just sent me would be. I mean, I've lost years off my life with that happening, but
Yeah, that's a little terrifying.
it's always a good feeling when Johnny sends a song.
I know, and I do feel like I know him better because he loves this stuff.
Yeah.
And he's excited to talk about it. It's just, I don't know. It's been kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, what's yours?
I have two because I can't pick between the two.
Jojo Siwa's new song?
No, it's not JoJo Siwa's new song.
The Eras tour on Amazon.
No, it's not anything that has to do with Taylor Swift. That'll be the day. One of them is called Miss Me Too by Griff. Griff is, I think, underrated, and maybe a lot of people out there have never heard of her. Look her up.
Girl.
Yeah, it's a girl. And I have like 5 or 6 songs of hers saved in my liked playlist. But you know when you don't realize you've liked a bunch of songs from the same person? This happens to me a lot. So I go and look her up and I realize I've already liked like 10 of her songs. And I had no idea some of them were the same. She was the same artist for these songs I've liked over the course of the last couple of years. So I thought that was really cool. This one's fairly new. I'm not really sure. I can't really figure it out, but it's about like missing someone because you miss who you were. You miss the version of yourself too. I think she might be actually talking about like a country or a location or somewhere she once lived or maybe her parents, or the vibes aren't necessarily like a love song, but it's about missing someone because like I miss me too, which I thought was just really sweet.
Yeah.
And then the other one is called Delilah, the summer version. Not sure what that means, but the song is like Delilah dash summer version by Nicholas. It's like Nicholas, but with an M. Nicholas. On the album called One.
People doing anything to be unique.
Well, he
these
might
days.
be from a different country.
Nicholas.
I mean, Greek. This sounds Greek, maybe. Anyway, it's called Delilah. It's like a banger. It's like sad and heartbreaking, but he's like, you can sing to it. You can kind of like.
What's it called?
Yelled. It's called Delilah.
Okay.
The summer version. And I don't know. It's just an anthem. And it's like, I'm in my sad era again.
You're in your feels.
I'm in my feels again. But yeah, just 2 good songs and good energy. And then the summer version, Delilah, it does feel like a summer song. I don't know why. Anyway,
I love that.
shout out to Walter. While we both talk about music tonight, I wanted to give Walter a shout out. He was our registrar at the college we used to go to. He's been a bro from the beginning.
Yes.
We used to like talk music. We'd go to his house and watch TV shows.
This is us.
Yeah, This Is Us. We'd have like little TV show marathons. Just a pop culture connoisseur, guru, like a music fan. So because we're both doing songs tonight and he's a big fan of the podcast, wanted to shout out Walter. So Walter, thanks for listening. Thanks for supporting us. We appreciate it a lot. And I will never forget being at some silly wedding with you, and you were sober, I'm sure, but I was incredibly intoxicated off of a bottle of champagne that they had just left on the table. And I think we had a heart to heart and talked about music.
Yeah, we did.
Anyway, we were like table 1,000 in the back corner, and Walter came and found us and sat with us. Anyway, so thanks, Walter, for the love.
Today I was putting my makeup on and I was breathing and Claire said, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Yeah, why?" And she said, "It sounds like you've been smoking." And I started laughing because I have. And she said, "It's such a turn off for Jen."
Well, there was this cute guy in front of me in a pickup truck tonight. And then he opens his window and puts his hand out and he's holding a cigarette. And I was like, what a fucking turn off. And then you're like hacking a lung tonight.
Mary Grace has been trying the nicotine gum. Not that she was smoking, but I have really found that nicotine has helped with depression a lot. Like when I am smoking, I am on a different level as far as just like feeling like I can function, open my eyes. So she said that the gum has been working really well.
Okay.
And it's like kind of zened her out, which I think is cool. So I might switch to that.
Guys, we're on Apple Podcast and Spotify, the audio version, and we're on YouTube, the video version. Thank you so much for listening, for watching, and once again for like all the comments, all the compliments, all the support, and some of the really inappropriate comments. Keep them coming. Just kidding. Stop doing that. It's my least favorite thing about you.
I think it makes Phil contemplate
Divorcing you.
Yeah. Oh, man. Well done. I hope that was cohesive.
I have no idea anymore.